We're not bringing it indoors. It's still
Can you
outdoors.
imagine what would a piece of paper even do at F&W? Just what would you do with it?
Yeah.
Write home. You would write home. That is what you should do.
It is. So we're going to jump in and let people know the what and the how and the why of the whole new TF. But first, the who is kind of important. So I'm Tulio, he, him pronouns, and I am the F&W handyman. Okay, I mean, I'm the marketing manager. Yeah, you're laughing.
You're
You're like,
far
you know,
more than the F&W handyman.
I
Although
know,
the
but I want to help
F&W
people.
handyman is indeed.
I'm here to help. I'm here to help, Chris. What about you, Chris? You want to introduce yourself before we jump in the why?
Yes, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Chris Moncrief, he, him pronouns as well. And I am an F&W fan, super fan, really grateful. And I've had the honor and privilege over the last, what is this, now 6 months, to help reimagine what Tamarack Farm could look like for the next generation of y'all who are going to be coming through and turning things up at camp.
So let's jump into the why, because this is, I love what you wrote, and folks can see that too, because we have this PDF and we're going to share that with everybody. Everyone wants to see it, gets a PDF, and your words are really are really beautiful, Chris. But they're, you know, really talks about how we wanted it to be super relevant for today's population. Is the way I saw it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's just acknowledging the fact that when camp was created, the world was different, right? We're talking close to, F&W is approaching 100 years very soon. And it's like the 100 years ago, who 15, 16, and 17-year-olds were very different than who you all probably are right now. The things that you're dealing with, the questions you have, the kinds of things that are on your plate have just changed. And we want to make sure that Tamarack Farm can actually still meet you where you are without losing the F&W spirit of what it meant to be a part of that community at Farm and Wilderness.
Absolutely. I love that, Chris. I love the way you frame that. And so let's start with a, you know, let me carry on with a how we're going to do that. And one is, you touched on it. It's still going to be camp. It's going to be a program. It's going to be living together. We are not stripping it of all those essential elements of like the chill days, the choice days, the games, the living together. Living together should be a joyful experience. People are awesome. People are amazing. This is a great place to set yourself up for success when you go into a team-based work environment, when you go into college environment. Part of the skills that you learn are going to be involved around that, around diversity and equity. So we're going to have outside experts. That is one of those things that's a difference. You know, in the past, we've trained up our staff and they've held that piece of diversity, inclusivity, and equity. And that's cool. We'll still do that. We're going to have some baseline training, and we're going to bring in folks who do this for a living, who are specialists in this area. All right. And they're going to look at these important issues of identity and also, you know, power and privilege to make sure we've really landed on those where we need to. That's going to be one element of it. So one of the things people might be asking as they go into this is like, what does it feel like? And I love the work that you did with this, Chris. You know, we really looked at those magic moments, and we talked about all those interviews, and we put all those digital post-its, 200 of them. It was like cluttering out the screen, and they had to zoom in to see them, but it was really cool. And we looked for themes of the important. What are the real takeaways? And people wanted to feel that, you know, they were going to be okay. So we want to make sure we built that into the structure. So there's going to be the first 2 days is like, okay, you know what? We're not going to jump straight into learning. We're going to jump straight into learning how to live together. So get everyone on solid ground socially is job one. All right. And we built that into the schedule. Right.
Yeah. And I think that like don't underestimate the value of that. It doesn't happen a lot that you have dedicated time to get to be with people. I mean, this is one of the biggest things that's showing up in our world now, right? Like everything that is being experienced by people, none of it lasts. All of it is about these like short bursts of experiences, these short bursts of information. You got a 1-minute video on TikTok. You get 10 photos to capture your entire experience on Instagram. And it's not the right way to really think about the full capacity of what it is you've been able to do or accomplish. And we think at camp, we can get ahead of that. We can get away from that, and that we can give you all an experience where you can actually get really committed deep dive into a thing that you really care about and see the full efforts of your work and of your time come to fruition. And those first 2 days of camp are really just that. And it's going to feel different. It'll start slow. It'll start light. It'll start as a way to say, hey, we're all here. We're all different. And we have a lot of things going on. And like, let's create some space for all of that to be present and for us to be present with each other inside of that before we start doing anything else.
Yeah, exactly. So once you're grounded, that's when we get into that first immersion, and you're going to meet those experts and residents and those high, those people, and go like, oh, I can learn. Oh, this is exciting. These are professional educators. They're going to be like trying to spark something right off the bat. It'll be like, let's think about how we project manage this thing. How do we get this from here to here? Because that's a skill as well. So that's big part of this is how do you work in a team, and how do you, and those are transferable skills. So you may be learning something that you're like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Fair. All right. But the skills you learn to complete a pretty amazing, epic, challenging project are always something that you can take with you.
And Tulio, you want to chat a little bit about what the immersions are, what they're going to look like, different things that they might be able to get into?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I can only get into so much of this, but that is, once again, all in that PDF guide. But basically, environmental stewardship, when you're at this age, you're looking at whole systems and how we impact the land and what we can do. And then also carpentry and construction. Hey, this is in farm and wilderness DNA. All right. There's a lot of capacity for doing those kind of big projects. Of course, that's going to stay there. And then agriculture and homesteading. So there is the homesteading element, the putting together an amazing meal from our garden. And there's the bigger oh, I may want to do this for a living. I may want to actually become a farmer. And then there's also the elements of arts, because we attract so many creative people, right, Chris?
Something about just being in the woods makes you want to make some stuff.
And so we're going to have an artist in resident. There's a lot of possibility there. Sky's the limit. And then also there'll be the idea of your path, starting to pave your path towards being a counselor by getting your lifeguard certificate and your wilderness first aid, and then giving you a chance to practice. Chris, I got a question earlier from one of the students, are there going to be classrooms for these? No, we're not bringing this indoors. Yeah, we're not bringing it indoors. It's still.
Can you imagine what would a piece of paper even do at F&W? Just what would you do with it? Yep. Write home. You would write home. That is what you should do. Right.
Yeah,
write home.
Exactly. So hopefully people have a feeling of the flow. And I would be remiss not to mention celebration, because we are going to finish. We're going to finish with a bang, because we want to celebrate. That is an essential element. We want to stand back after we have done amazing work and be like, wow.
I think in the same way that we don't make a lot of time to be with people, we don't make a lot of time to close things out. And I think it'll be meaningful to spend, it's 2.5 days at the end of the summer, just closing it out, wrapping up your projects, putting them in front of people, letting people share in them, share you, appreciate you, celebrate all the work that has been done, and talk about what it all means. All right, and how it all culminates into something valuable for you as you go back into your life as a F&W'er in the world at large.
So that's what it should feel like leaving camp, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's really, really important for folks to be able, just to recap, for young people today who are under such pressure, they need that Vermont feeling. That valley holds you in a special way. And then waking up early and getting some work done so that at the end of the day, you feel good.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Y'all.
I bet you could actually, Chris. Yeah, I think.
No, that was perfect. It'll be a good time. TF has been a really important camp. And I think the new version of it will feel different and right in the ways that it is, and will feel the same and true in the ways that it was.